Grew up on the Batman TV series. It was the best. Fun fact, my iPhone, it's called the Bat phone. Who wouldn't want to be Batman? I'm not saying Commissioner Gordon's a bad guy, but who wouldn't go to the dark side for Catwoman? You know what I'm saying? For Halloween this year, though, I feel like I totally am going to go back to the future. I mean, October 21st. It's essentially Halloween's going to be a 10-day celebration. October 21st, 2015, that's when they set the flux capacitor. The DeLorean went into the future. Huge party. Save the date. So I'm definitely going back to the future. I don't know. Hey, if it doesn't work out, just go back and fix it later. Hello, adventurer. If your Facebook feed is like my Facebook feed, in the past, it has been a hot mess. Clutter after clutter. I don't know how anybody could be thoughtful the way Facebook is set up by default. The problem is that all your friends are treated all the same way. We have to dial people up and we have to dial people down. We're allowed to have not just friends, but close friends, friends, and acquaintances. But you know what? Even that, sometimes there's smaller groups of people that you want to be more thoughtful. Now, while you can create groups in Facebook, that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this really cool feature that's right there called lists. You can create a list based upon these are people that I'm investing in. These are people, we all have a similar interest. I'm gonna show you how to do it. You are going to love it because it's gonna allow you to be more thoughtful. Let me show you how to do this first on your smartphone. I wanna show you how I can interact with lists. There we have Jeremiah Lloyd here. I wanna put him in a couple of lists. Where would I find a way to dial Jeremiah up, dial him down, put him in a list, and the very last place that I would click would be right here, because it doesn't unfriend them, but I go to edit friends list. Now here, you see that Jeremiah is a close friend. These lists here are generated automatically. So it could be where you went to school, maybe where your kids go to school. Now, these lists here are ones that I've created for myself. I see that Jeremiah is in curated. I also have him in Padawan or church or the Wonder Grove. I can put somebody in multiple lists. If I want to look at Facebook just by that list, I have them here. So for example, if I go to Padawan, it's not just showing me the highlight reels of each, it's showing me every interaction they make. So as they're becoming friends with somebody or every post, this is really good for me to say, oh, I might have missed this. Here's somebody that works with me a bunch that I spent a lot of time with, and he's launching his t-shirt company today. And I might have missed that if I had gone through and it was competing with all of these friends. What is fantastic is that it's like I only have 5 friends on Facebook. So if I go over to more, that allows me to see the list that I've put into favorites. What this allows me to do is if I'm in here, is if I go to write a status and it says right now that it's too public, I can change this setting and say, I want it to go to just these people. So not only do lists allow us to be more thoughtful in the way we listen, but allows us to be thoughtful in the way we post. The problem with this interface is that it only allows you to read lists. It does not allow you to manage lists or to create a list. To do that, you have to go to the desktop. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch over to a desktop or your laptop, and I'm gonna show you how to create and manage lists. So one of the first ways to do that is that if I go over, let's see, we have my friend Pam here, and she has her friends list. And when I hover over this, you'll see a couple things. Number one, we talked about, I want to get notifications. She's also a close friend. And if I want to add to another list, these are a lot of different automatically generated lists. So when you see these lightning bolts, that means that they're automatically created. And so when I go down all the way to the bottom, I can create new list. I'm gonna call this one Fabulous. I've now created a new list and added her to that list at the same time. So I'm going over to home here, and you'll notice here on the left-hand side, didn't you just create adventure and didn't you create fabulous? I don't see any of that there. That is because these are, on this part, these are actually favorites.
So these are the ones that I want to see on there all the time. Let's say I'm going to go over to friends and I'm going to hit more here. And you'll see that adventure and fabulous, I just created those. So if I go over here to this gear and I edit that gear, I want to add adventure to my favorites. You also noticed up at the top here, this is a way for me to create lists. So if I wanted to create a list here, this is where I could create that. And I could add people. I've added him to that, and I can add a bunch of people right to that list. So you see, there's two different ways. I can go right to where this URL is up top, or I can go to the individual person's name. Unfortunately, these are things that are not allowed to be done in the app, so we have to do it here. So now you'll see, okay, I've added adventure, but maybe it's way down there. Always look for the gear. See, I can edit over here, and I can rearrange. And so now I can move adventure all the way to the top. Oh, that's like really cool. I can get all of that detailed information, and so I don't ever miss a thing.
Now, Facebook works for me, not the other way around. This is gonna allow you to be super thoughtful. So here's what I need you to do. I want you to think through at least 3 lists that you're gonna create right now. As you're going through and you're interacting with people, put them into some of those lists. Now, for maybe one list that's really critical for you, take one of those lists that are maybe a dozen people and go ahead and put all of them in that list. That would be good, but you don't have to organize every possible list that you're ever gonna wanna do. I'm thinking you're gonna wanna keep about a dozen at most. That is what typically is manageable. So put people on those lists because it makes the adventure a lot more fun for everybody, because your adventure begins right now.